Hey guys, it's Ahmer here. So today I wanted to go ahead and show off my new game room. Now, not everything is 100% complete just yet, but I do have a couple complete sections. And of course, I wanted to give a quick update on the entire moving process, what happened, all the nightmares and work that went into this house. So let's go ahead and check it out. As you may have seen in my last video, I gave one final view of my last game room. So I bought this house last month, so I've been here about a month and a half now, working on this ultimate game room area. And of course, I had a lot of problems moving in, so I kind of did everything a little bit backwards, and a lot of bad things happened. So we'll go ahead and recap on everything that I experienced during this move and kind of what some of the basement actually looks like now. So of course I have two designated areas for gaming. I took over the entire basement with my ultimate game room, and then I even have an arcade room where I have my kiosks and arcade machines. Well, arcade machine. So of course, right away, moving all of those big, heavy arcade machines into my new basement, one of them actually took a fall. So it literally only dropped about 2 inches to the steps, and I heard this terrifying sound of this gas releasing, and I just knew deep down that something was terribly wrong. So of course, I have my Carnival machine, and the entire machine is broken. So the monitor actually broke, which released that sound, and now I have to find a new monitor and get someone to go ahead and install it for it to work. So of course, if that wasn't the only nightmare, when I actually moved in, we just kind of threw everything all over the place. So it's literally taking me this amount of time just to get all the boxes downstairs. I had over 200 boxes of just video game items. Now, I didn't even know that I had that many items, as most of them were packed away in my apartment. So this is just crazy and so overwhelming. To top it off, when I moved in, this whole basement was brown, and that includes the floor, the paint on the walls, and just everything was so dark down here that I wanted to go ahead and paint everything, give it a bit of an update, kind of make it more bright, and let my collection show its true colors on the walls and just kind of have a little bit more brightness in this basement. So of course I painted all the walls, I painted everything with this arcade white and Sonic silver, and yes, those are actual colors that they do sell at Home Depot. So of course I painted the arcade room, the main basement area, even my upstairs office that I also took over. So that is where I have my gaming PC set up, and I even have Batman, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, Mortal Kombat, and Spider-Man all up there. So that has its own designated area, and it looks pretty awesome. But I haven't finished everything up there just yet. So of course, I paint everything down here, and then I realize there's only a couple outlets in the entire basement. So just looking around with everything that I own, over 200 different consoles, the arcade machines, the kiosks, and everything else that needs to be plugged in, that just was not going to cut it. So of course, after I painted everything, we had to rip the drywall out. So we had to actually cut all of this drywall out, and that was a nightmare in and of itself. We had to go along the whole bottom part of the wall, just cutting drywall out. Had to even cut out parts of the ceiling so that we could run all of these wires. I had to hire an electrician and a family friend contractor. So of course that was much better than hiring someone that I didn't know. So we were able to get all of that done, had to install new drywall, had to spackle and do everything else just to make the wall look just as it was before when I had painted. So of course I had to repaint everything, but now I have so many outlets in this room, so many outlets in the arcade, so that is one positive. And of course everything is starting to come together. So as you see behind me, I have these 3 large bookcases, which I had to actually purchase as mine fell apart in moving. So I had to buy these from IKEA. These are the Billy bookcases, and I did add a couple extra shelves. And these are majority of my statues. So I tried to do some themes on this wall right here. And then of course, I'll show off another wall. And that one, I'm pretty happy with it. I just have to buy a TV. So let's go ahead and check that out. And then of course onto my favorite wall in the entire basement. So this is my console wall. So I plan on putting a television right there, mounting it on the wall in that spot. And of course, I think about a 65-inch TV should fit. So I'll have to go out and buy one of those. But I did buy all of these shelving units from IKEA and I had to put them together. So that was a nightmare in and of itself. But they all went together pretty nicely and they are pretty durable. So I have this whole Nintendo area right here where I have all of the different worldwide variations of the Nintendo 64 console. I even had to put this Nintendo 64 sign above it. And I picked some of my favorite box art pieces right there. So those are all the console boxes for Nintendo consoles, and those are some of my favorite. They have some pretty vibrant colors, they pop, and they have some pretty cool characters on them. So it isn't like my last place where I just shoved as many boxes on top of all the shelving units and just called it a day. This I actually tried to have some pretty neat style areas where I just kind of have these themes, and I wanted to kind of make it a little bit less cluttered, which is pretty hard on a lot of the other areas because I didn't realize I had so much stuff when I actually started packing everything up and then moving it here and unpacking it. And of course, during the moving process, I probably had about 30 interventions with family members and friends who helped me. So that was a great experience right there. So of course, if we move on down, we have all the Nintendo 64, some GameCubes on the bottom. We have this Xbox section right there with some of the older and new gen Xboxes. We even have some miscellaneous consoles down there. We have the Panasonic 3DO. I have 3 different variants, and even the Neo Geo system. And then of course on that last shelf, I have plenty of room for some miscellaneous Nintendo consoles, Wii, NES, Super Nintendo, Famicom, Super Famicom, and some PlayStation, PlayStation 2, and PlayStation 3 consoles. And then of course some older style ones on the bottom. Now you may be thinking, where are all your retro video game consoles? Well, I actually have a retro corner in the basement, so that is actually still a work in progress. It's very cluttered at the moment. And of course, another horror story for you. So, as I'm working on this retro corner over there with some older PC and just older Atari items, I actually plugged in my Apple II computer and I'm running around frantically trying to find all the games because I wanted to have a little bit of downtime and actually play some of the games. So I'm looking for that box, can't find it. All of a sudden, I hear this crackling sound and something smells like it's on fire. So I quickly panic, I turn around, I see this cloud of smoke coming from my Apple II computer, and of course, I take a video of it, and then I unplug it, and I just grab a hold of it, run upstairs with it, and I didn't know what to do. I just kind of put it away from everything so that I wouldn't catch anything on fire. Wasn't really too sure if it was on fire, if it was just burning, why it was smoking. So of course, one of the caps actually busted, so now I have to order a new part, which only costs about $1.50, and then I have to find someone to fix that for me because I'm not too sure about that. But it can be fixed, and it can be fixed pretty inexpensively, so that is a plus as opposed to the Carnival machine, which that will cost a few $100s for a new monitor. So in my new house, I already had this mini fire and just all kinds of craziness going on. So that retro corner I'll have to show you guys after the fact. And then of course when I get some more of the arcades downstairs and that room together, which I'll have some tabletop items, some smaller kiosks, some larger kiosks. I'll have to get some of those banners hung up in there and some neon signs that I have. Of course, I'm trying to scatter some of the signs around. So I have the Sonic the Hedgehog over there with the Sega and PlayStation era stuff. This will have the TV over top of it, and this is all Nintendo with, of course, my favorite Nintendo 64 sign. So all of the other ones will just kind of be scattered above the sections where the games are, and then of course in the kiosk room. So that'll be pretty awesome to see, and I just wanted to go ahead and give a quick update for you guys, as this has been some crazy experience right here. I definitely recommend when you guys get into a new place, or if you guys are looking to buy a house or just an area to build for your gaming collection, make sure you take all of these things into consideration. Maybe doing all of the electrical work before you paint, before you move in, before you have all these boxes and stuff all in the way. And of course, that way you can kind of do all the drywall work before you paint, and then you have to go out and buy more paint like I did. And then that way you can have it all set up the way that you want it to. And then after you do all of the work, move all the stuff in and put the shelves and stuff together. That way you have a little bit more space to work with when you're building things and kind of setting some things up. So if I could do it again, I'd probably do it a little bit different. I'd probably get a bigger dolly as well. And of course, widening all these door frames to try and fit the arcades. That was another crazy experience. So of course, this is definitely a project ahead, a big task for me, but I'm looking forward to sharing this room with you guys. And at the new year, I will have another game room tour. Now this one will be even better than the last because I have a whole dedicated basement area, and then of course my office upstairs, and that surprise little arcade room in the basement. So I can't wait to share that with you guys, so make sure you guys stay tuned for that. And of course I've had tons of pickups, tons of surprises for the holidays, so I'll have to start getting some videos together for you guys so I can show all of the cool items that I'm adding to the game room on top of everything that I'm already unpacking. So of course, thank you guys for watching. Make sure you like and subscribe. Go ahead and check out my other videos and stay tuned for more.